New to Formula One? Just need a refresher? Beyond the Grandstand has you covered with F101, your introduction to Formula One racing.
This episode we'll be explaining pit stops, tyres, and strategy.
The first lesson point is, what is a pit strategy?
Every driver in every Grand Prix is forced to take one compulsory pit stop, at least. A lot of drivers typically do more than that, however, one stop is 100% necessary.
But remember, that one stop may not count if you do not change to a different compound of tyre, which we will cover in a later segment.
And those two compounds of tyres must be different. You cannot change to the same compound.
A pit strategy is what the team will develop before the Grand Prix after assessing the tyres which you qualified on and the race and how the race is unfolding in front of you. There are two main strategies, the overcut and the undercut. First we will cover what the overcut is, as it is less seen. The less common strategy of these two is the overcut, in which the driver most commonly cut. The less common of these strategies is the overcut. It is typically performed by the driver in front, in an attempt to stay out longer than the driver behind who has normally pitted before.
This gap of staying out allows the driver to build up a good gap to the car behind, which should leave the driver behind outside the driver in front's pit window. Normally a pit stop takes between 20 and 30 seconds, so being 20 or 30 seconds ahead of the car behind due to them stopping and you staying out allows a buffer zone for the driver in front to pit and not let the driver behind pass him while he's in pit lane.
As Alex has just said, pit window is the time frame it takes to complete the full pit stop, both entering, travelling through the pit lane, stopping for the what is required in your pit stop, either tyre changes or change your front wing if it's damaged, and then exiting. During this period, it gives the driver behind a chance to catch up. Pitting under the VSC, or virtual safety car, has only become a recent strategy, as the VSC has been recently implemented in the previous years. A VSC is which the entire field must slow down to a given time and speed around the track. This allows drivers to pit and go through pit lane at a normal speed. Sometimes this is faster than cars on track are allowed to travel, meaning they can actually gain time in the pit stop while others are slowed down. Although this is only on some tracks, and on other tracks it may act like a normal pit stop. Pitting under the safety car, however, is a lot more beneficial, as the entire field bunches together and slows down, allowing cars in the pit lane to get ahead and stay in the place they originally were, or barely lose any positions. Now that we have covered pit strategy, it's time to move on to tyre strategy.
Every Grand Prix sees every driver complete at least one compulsory pit stop, and during that stop, drivers must change tyres from one compound to another, as a driver is not allowed to stay on the same compound for an entire Grand Prix. Drivers who qualify in the top 10 must start the race on the tyre that they used during qualifying, but if you qualify 11th or lower, then you may choose what tyre to start on. Tyre strategies are often what determine the pit stop strategy, as tyres can often make the difference between a win and a loss. The hard tyre lasts the longest and can often work quite easily on a one-stop strategy, however it doesn't have as much grip. The medium tyre has a balance between grip and longevity between the soft and the hard tyre compounds.
The use of the hard tyre is not normally seen unless the driver is forced onto an alternate strategy at the start of the race. 2019 also sees the introduction of different tyre compounds as from the previous years of the turbo hybrid era. As formerly they were known from the range of hyper soft to super hard.
In 2018, there were the hyper soft, the ultra soft, the super soft, the medium, the hard, the super hard, the intermediate, and the wet tyre.
But 2019 saw a change in the way tyre compounds are named, with the tyre manufacturer Pirelli swapping the compounds from C5 to C1, with 5 being the softest and 1 being the hardest. But these names are not what they are referred to during the race. They can be known as the soft, medium, and hard, as Alex has said. Depending on the weekend, C4 maybe the soft tyre one weekend, and C5 the next.
Depending on the circuit that is raced on, whether it be a fast, slow, or middle speed circuit, tyre compounds will change. Any combination of 3 tyres between the C1 and the C5 will be chosen for a race weekend based on the circuit.
If the track becomes wet, we may see the green intermediate tyre or the blue wet tyre. The intermediate is only normally used during light drizzle and soft rain, but as soon as the rain becomes too hard and the track becomes too wet, we see the use of the blue walled wet tyre.
The ultra high grip wet tyre is used in absolutely extreme conditions of very, very hard rain, and is also heavily grooved, and also very uncommon, as most rain conditions only require an intermediate tyre. If in the event of a dry qualifying and a wet race, or vice versa, the tyre compound rule, where the driver must start the race on the tyre compound used during qualifying, becomes nullified due to safety reasons that a dry tyre should not be used in heavily wet conditions.
And a wet tyre should not be used in dry conditions.
Unless you're Pierre Gasly.
Now let's put what you have learned into practice. If car 1 starts on the soft tyres and car 2 starts on the medium tyres, we will see car 1 perform an undercut, in which it will swap onto the medium tyres or the hard tyres and then attempt to catch back up to car 1. Hopefully, by this time, car 2 has built a gap longer than the pit window and will then pit after he believes his tyres have run their course, in which he will then swap onto the soft tyre, in which he will then be faster and hopefully keep the gap that he has built and win the race.
If you have any more questions regarding pit and tyre strategies, please leave them in the comments section below and we will try and answer your questions and inquiries.
Thank you we hope you enjoyed your first lesson of F101.
Be sure to catch one of our 7 new series airing soon, so stay tuned on Beyond the Grandstand.